Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. The Nextel internet better be working today. I got something to say. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, the Skywalker Show in the morning. Streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! What's happening, people? Coming up today, the Cowboys defense, man. They're hungry, they're salivating to get back out there and bounce back from last week's performance. So, and they're also welcoming back Ezekiel Elliott. We're going to take a look at that matchup. Cowboys defense against the Patriots offense. In the roundup, we're going to take a look at the offensive line update from an injury report standpoint. It's a cool little stat of the day. Sometimes I'll find these little stats throughout the week, and I got one that I want to talk about a little bit in the roundup. And then, of course, today is Thursday, so that means the scientific method is back up and running. We got our guy, Patrick Nosey Walker of DallasCowboys.com coming through. We're going to talk a little bit about the vibes inside the locker room around the star, and then we're going to try to get a more detailed, in-depth update on what's happening with this offensive line situation. A lot of moving parts, and a lot of veterans. And it was Veteran Day for a couple dudes yesterday that You got a little bone to pick with John Machota, but it is what it is, man. We got the real information out there, so no need to panic. Let me just say that. No need to panic. Nonetheless, we will talk to Pat at the top of the hour, so make sure you guys stick around for that. But what's good, Mom Squad?
Bomb Squad!
How y'all doing this morning? It's Thursday. I know what that means, all right? Cowboys got practice, and we just got to hope we get through this practice with no problems. Because it's been a terrible Thursday the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And we're just hoping we get to Friday morning and everything is good to go. But enough of me, enough of opening up the show. We got Pat joining us in about 10. So let's, and I do want to listen to J-Ron. If I don't get a chance to listen to J-Ron coming out of the roundup, we'll take a listen to it prior to previewing the Patriots offense, what I saw on film, my notes, and we'll go into the film room a little bit. Not really, but we're going to take a look at some of their run game schemes and whatnot. So here we go. Here we go.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It is time for
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
No roundup yesterday, but we're back at it. We're back at it today. So I love numbers. I love, it tells part of the story, not all of the story. And you can kind of learn some things from that. Or they can confirm some things. But the stat of the day came from Warren Sharp. He was talking about the percentage of drives that had at least one sack so far in 2023. So who are the top 5 teams that have allowed the least amount of sacks on a drive? The top 5 teams are number 5, Green Bay at 9%. Number 4, Detroit, also at 9%. Number 3, the Dallas Cowboys, 7%. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs are tied for first, I should say, are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins at 3%. So I'll say this again. The percentage of drives an offense has allowed at least one sack so far in 2023, Cowboys are actually in second place at 7% of the drives, which is extremely low. To talk about the inverse there, the Washington football people have allowed a sack on 37% of their drives. So that tells you how wide that gap is. And when you go look at this, something that I noticed, Miami, Kansas City, Dallas, and Green Bay, 4 of those 5 teams have systems that are rooted in the West Coast offense. Interesting, right? So we all know about the West Coast philosophies. 3-step drop, 5-step drops. We're going to get the ball out, not really holding it too long or whatnot. And you can obviously see that in the Cowboys shift this season, right? Kansas City, Miami, they have offenses rooted in that. Green Bay, obviously, as well with LaFleur. One of the best West Coast guys in history of the West Coast is residing in Kansas City. Also, Doug Peterson went to Jacksonville and Philly and did some things. But that just goes to show you this is the offensive system that I think rules the day in the NFL. It's about tweaking it, though. It's about adding your little nuances to it to make it better. But I am proud of what this offensive line has been able to do in regards to pass protection on a down in, down out basis, even with the injuries that the Cowboys have been facing. Speaking of which, Tyler Biadasz, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin all did not practice yesterday. Again, that makes that stat all more impressive because we haven't had our starting 5 offensive line all season. And then obviously last week, all 3 of those guys were missing and you held up as about as well as you think you could. In fact, I think if you were to take that specific game and put it anywhere during the season, you'd take that, take that. Watch that Diddy bop. Chumi Doga, and we'll talk more about those 3 guys with Patrick Nosey Walker in a few minutes. Chumi Doga was limited with the elbow injury. And then you had CeeDee Lamb and DeMarcus Lawrence who got a rest day. So the reason why I said I had a little bone to pick with John Machota. So John tweets out, and me and John cool, but John tweets out, Cowboys who did not practice, DeMarcus Lawrence, CeeDee Lamb, then obviously the other guys. And that's it. He didn't tell us nothing else. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So I go to my Cowboys, my little tab over here, Cowboys Insider. What's going on? Then Michael Gelker tweets out, hey, man, CeeDee Lamb, DeMarcus Lawrence, it's a rest day. Nothing's wrong. Everything's great. They just getting a little veterans or whatever, right? Why can't you just add that extra to it, man? The Cowboy fans are already nervous and scared of practice as is. So if you don't add any context to CeeDee Lamb and DeMarcus Lawrence not practicing, I'm going to assume something bad happened. A little bone to pick with John, man. Just a little one. And then here's I think John Machota did. Same bad as John Machota Day, but so I guess when you get the check mark, right? Like you have unlimited amount of characters to post on Twitter now, right? And Bill Belichick, hilarious presser for the Cowboys. Hey, Bill, so what do you think about the Cowboys? He went on for about 7 minutes just talking about the history of the Dallas Cowboys and every single last player on the team. This John Machota takes the transcript, posts it on Twitter, and it's about a 50,000 word explanation all on Twitter. John, what you doing, bro? What you doing, man? So it's Thursday, like I said. Can we get through this damn day without anything crazy happening?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. That's all I got, man. It's hope. I don't like living by the hope creed. But these practices been crazy. They've been crazy, Cowboys Nation, and they've been driving me crazy. So I do got about 5 minutes and before I get to our guy Patrick No-C Walker. And I wanted you guys, really, if you haven't listened to J-Ron Curse speak on pretty much summing up what happened in that game. And this is just kind of a little tease to us previewing this Patriots matchup, and hopefully the mentality is a bit sharper going into this game. But in the first word today, I want you guys to listen to J-Ron Curse talking about the energy, he summed it up basically the second play of the game where, look, if we were all playing with that same hunter mentality, then maybe a play could have been made even with them running for 44 yards. And then I loved how he ended it at the end of this presser where they asked him, like, hey, well, if New England pops on the tape, are they going to do this and do that? J-Ron Curse said, try me. That's what you saw Sunday is not going to happen again from an energy standpoint, but I'll let J-Ron explain to it first in the first word.
You kind of when you have 11 guys on the field that hunt, you can minimize some of those mistakes, some of those misfits and things like that. For example, that second play of the game, on the read, Micah comes and takes the dive. Quarterback pulls it. Me and Donovan spin out, and you can see. I let up thinking Donovan was going to make the play. He misses the tackle. And as you get further down the field, when Bland hustles and get down the field and gets him to jump up and then comes down, he's loose with the ball. That's just one of those plays where if I'm hustling, I punch that ball out. So it just was an accumulation of a lot of things where, it was this guy on this play, this guy on that play, this guy on that play. And then it boils down to just bad football, which we put out there on tape.
Did they do it? Do you think New England's going to try to copy what they did and type of runs they had? And so but it's never really not about that. It's about y'all.
Yeah, we don't really care what New England does. We play our football. We're gonna stop anything. So it's not really about what New England does. So we hope they turn their tape on and think that's the same thing. They're not getting nothing close to that.
Dallas Cowboys coming off of a loss are 9-1 following an L. So I tend to believe they will not get that. And I think what he's talking about is the energy, right? Is the focus, is the details that they weren't all on this, I shouldn't say on the same page, but they weren't all doing their job in that particular game. And like I said, normally when these guys lose, there is truly a bounce back. When these guys have a bad game, there is truly a bounce back. So, I mean, look, you don't want to lose any games. You just don't. But Micah said something in his press when I was listening to him. He was like, you don't want to have double L's. You don't want to lose and not learn, right? So you lose here, you learn from it, and you get better moving forward. And he had, not he, but Chill had asked, hey, will New England try to do these things? Well, schematically, they can't, number one. And we'll get into the details of that a little bit later. But I don't think schematically the New England Patriots are going to attack you. And let's just be real, we're talking on the ground, the same way that the Cardinals were going to do it. Joshua Dobbs can run. He can use his athleticism. They're not going to do that with Mac Jones. And just from a pure scheme standpoint, they're not going to run the same running schemes. And again, we'll get into the details of that. But like he said, it doesn't matter what the opposing team does to you. You guys, you base your whole defense off of playing with that energy, right? And playing with that tenacity and rallying to the ball like a pack of wolves or a pride of lions, whatever you want to call it. And they just didn't have that same tenacity. I use the example. It felt like they got the news about Trayvon right before they went out there, break the huddle. Oh, by the way, Trayvon out for the season, and everybody's kind of caught off guard. Me and Koye were talking about the communication was off between, J-Ron and Gilly on one play. You saw LVE and these guys trying to figure things out. You saw Hooker and these guys. Now, it was just a total discombobulation on the defensive side of the ball that resulted in a whole bunch of hero ball plays trying to be made, and they just gassed you. They just gassed you. And I don't think that'll be the case again this week just because of what happened last week. So we're going to see, but we're going to take a look a little bit later on and how the Patriots will attack both in the air and on the ground, and they have a chance to be successful. But I do think, sounds crazy, because I said this last week, schematically, I like the things that the Cardinals did. I did like them a lot. But this week, offensively, I don't think schematically that will be why you'll be, if you're beat, it'll be because of that. I think it'll be because you'll have another situation like last week if you didn't come out and play with the energy, if you didn't come out and play with that hustle and that tenacity. Because I think from a scheme standpoint, you match up very well with the Patriots. So you should see a bounce back game on that side of the ball. But all right, Cowboys Nation, it is that time to bring in our guy, Patrick No C Walker of DallasCowboys.com to get you some of that science. I'm going to let the music breathe a little bit for our guy. What's good, Pat?
Skywalker, what it do, brother?
What's happening with you, man? You're a busy man down there at the store.
I didn't hear you say it again.
I said you a busy man down there at the Star, man.
I'm trying to get this work for y'all, man. Trying to cook it up for y'all real nice. It's a lot of fugaziness out there in the industry as far as who's covering it, who's talking about the Cowboys. So, I gotta make sure I counteract that with science and what's really going on down here.
And that's why we appreciate you, brother. And honestly, that's part of the reason why I do what I do as well, man. We're fighting that fugaziness, all the fake takes and all the fake media out there portraying the real for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we got the real joining us right now, Patrick No C Walker, DallasCowboys.com, man. And I just got to get to the biggest news coming out of Sunday in regards to the offense side of the ball. And it's not red zone for me. It's the big three, Tyron, Zach, and Biadasz. I want this injury spotlight brought to you by OSMI to be update. Give me an update on Tyron, Zach, and Biadasz in regards to their status this week.
Well, I respect that that's your biggest takeaway from Sunday, and it should be because, there are red zone issues that need to be resolved, but in Arizona, a lot of the red zone issues and the lack of explosiveness, went to the fact that you had two Hall of Famers out and a Pro Bowler in Tyler Biadasz, so that's 17 combined Pro Bowls. But injury report based on yesterday, let's go ahead and get out the way that CeeDee Lamb and DeMarcus Lawrence, neither of them practiced because it was a veteran rest day. Now moving on to the offensive line, Chuma Edoga practiced in a limited capacity. Obviously, he played on Sunday. I was told there's no setback. They're just kind of still working him through that hyperextended elbow that he suffered against the Jets. Tyron Smith did not practice. He was going to be on the injury report anyway with the knee issue that popped up last Saturday that ultimately started this train of events that was very, very weird in real time as far as he was not listed as inactive. He was named the offensive team captain, and then it wasn't until warm-ups when they basically said, we're going to sit you down. So I looked to my left and I looked to my right, and I told Nick Harris and I told Nick Eatman, I was like, the day's not going to go well because it's already starting off weird, and then it just got more and more weird from there. So Tyron Smith, he did not practice with a knee injury. I was told that it was partly because it was a veteran rest day, probably for him as well. So even if he could have practiced yesterday in a limited capacity, he probably would not have. But best case, he would have been in the rehab group with Zach Martin and Tyler Biadasz, who also did not practice yesterday with the ankle and the hamstring, respectively. So Stephen Jones told 105.3 FM The Fan a few days ago that it is quite possible that the Cowboys will have finally their full onslaught of offensive linemen against the New England Patriots. But we have to see how this week goes because we've seen how this season has gone when it comes to Cowboys offensive line injuries, the way they're treating the injuries. They're being hyper cautious about it. Tyler Smith missed 2 games with a hamstring strain. So let's see what today brings. And today being Thursday, the scariest day of the week now in Frisco. So everybody cross your fingers, cross your toes, cross your eyes, say your Hail Marys, and let's hope for some good news out of Frisco today for the injury report, but most certainly no more bad Thursday news.
Hey, I kind of want to touch back. I hate to go back on this, but I want to, if you could walk us through that Tyron thing. That was weird, man, because it didn't pop up till Saturday, like you said, and that slipped my mind that he was named a captain. And then all of a sudden, he's not playing. So in real time, how was all of this coming down, and how did it affect what they were going to do at the left tackle spot? Because for me, I thought, Tyler could have been a guy they put out there, but I get it's his first game back. And by the way, fantastic game. But it just was, like you said, really weird how all that went down. What was it like down there on the sideline when that was happening?
It was all happening in real time, still to the point where, we're up in the press box and I get the inactives and I'm like, okay, Tyron's active. I saw him doing his going through a pregame workout. That's when I tweeted that I didn't see Tyler Biadasz or Zach Martin doing a pregame workout, and I said that's quite telling. And then the inactives come out. Tyron Smith is active. Okay, here we go. The captains come out. Tyron Smith is an offensive captain. All right. So we're probably without Tyler Biadasz and Zach Martin. Weird that we're without Zach Martin when Zach has said that he's good, but like I said, team is playing it hyper cautious with these offensive line injuries. But then I get a text message from the sidelines that say they're still, and the text message said they're still trying to decide on 7-7. What? So then I head down to the sideline because let me get in this fire. Then let me figure out what's going on down here. So then I don't see Tyron. He's left the field. Here comes the offensive lineman to work out. And you see Tyron then walk out, but he's not leading the charge, and he almost always leads the charge. So I'm like, well, that's also weird. So then they go over to the end zone and they start doing their offensive line drills. And I look at the setup, and the setup is Edoga at left tackle, Tyler Smith left guard, Brock Hoffman center, T.J. Bass at right guard, and Terrence Steele at right tackle. And behind them, with his helmet in his hand, not doing any drills whatsoever, is Tyron Smith. So then I look over and I asked one of the coaching staff, I said, so is that the decision made? And he nodded and he was like, yeah, that's the decision made. So this all happened in real time. So to answer your follow-up question, did it impact, or how much did it impact what they did on Sunday to a gargantuan level? No exaggeration, because the reason Tyler Smith was at left guard instead of left tackle was because, number one, injury crops up late on Tyron Smith on Saturday, but then they didn't actually rule him out until just under an hour before kickoff. So that means Tyler Smith had taken 100% of his practice reps, first practice back, first week back, I should say, at guard. So then they would have had to completely uproot him and change the scheme for this week. So Mike McCarthy said, no, let's just keep Tyler at left guard and let's just put Edoga at left tackle. Now, keep in mind, Udoka was brought in to flex, but he's been much, much better as left guard. That's why you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. He kind of got exposed at left tackle in training camp, but that's the reason why they weren't flipped, because it was too late and McCarthy was wildly uncomfortable with that. But here's what led to the final thing, and I'm so glad. This is why I respect McCarthy. He admitted it. He said his backup offensive lineman didn't get enough reps in practice. That was because of late week injuries. But then he also said that he took some of the verticality plays out of the playbook and some of the creativity in the red zone out of the playbook because he was apprehensive. His words were he overreacted by the fact that he had 3 starting offensive linemen out. So I can't stress enough how weird that whole sequence was, nor can I stress enough how big of an impact it had on what the Cowboys wanted to do and were not able to do against the Cardinals.
There were 3 blinking lights, as McCarthy said. That's what he called it, 3 blinking lights from that game. And one of them, maybe the biggest one, was the run defense. And honestly, the defense in general, Pat. You said something to me yesterday that alluded to Dan Quinn is not messing around this week. What's the vibes around the defense after a game like that?
Pissed. I haven't seen Dan Quinn smile a single time this week, not once. And I see Dan Quinn a lot, several times on a daily basis. Practice field, I see him walking around the building. We always have our fun exchanges. I compliment his shoe game because it's fire, by the way. He'll randomly compliment mine. He'll say, "Hey, no, see, I read your article." So we have these, pleasantries. But we still had our pleasantries, but he wasn't smiling. Like, his air was completely different. Like, this is an angry man right now. And the same goes for the defense as well. DeMarcus Lawrence, angry air. Micah Parsons, angry air. Donovan Wilson, angry air. I mean, J-Ron Curse, his interview yesterday in the locker room, that was not the usual J-Ron Curse where he's showing all 32 of his pearly whites. No, he was really, really, let's just say, upset at what happened on Sunday. So this Cowboys defense and the defensive coordinator, they know what time it is. They know that while the offense dropped the ball in a couple of occasions, and we could talk about the refs and, okay, call the DPI. Don't pick up the DPI flag, but you can't leave the game in the ref's hands, and you should know that if you're playing for the Cowboys. Just don't. But as far as the defense is concerned, had the defense bottled up James Conner, bottled up Rondale Moore, bottled up Josh Dobbs in the first half, they did a good job of that in the second half, but in the first half, then this game is still winnable. It's probably an ugly win, but it's a win nonetheless, and that's what's really right on the defense this week is that even though the offense wasn't where it needed to be for a third straight week, the defense for a third straight week could have won this game, and they didn't. So now they're looking to host a Patriots team that has Ramondre Stevenson, that has, oh, by the way, Ezekiel Elliott, who might be emotionally charged in his homecoming, and you're a week away, you're a week removed, I should say, from giving up 222 yards on the ground. They know they need to bottle up. They know they need to lock down, get their keys, get their assignments, and really that's what the problem was with the run defense last week. It wasn't that the scheme was off. It was lack of execution, and it was lack of effort. It wasn't the same effort we saw in the first 2 weeks, and that's something Mike had said himself on yesterday.
On the other side of the ball, I thought there was some wasted efforts there, right? Like Michael Gallup, he's back, right? He comes back with a 97-yard performance, and I think he needed that. On the ground, in the backfield, quietly as it's kept, Tony Pollard.
Talk to him.
3 straight games, he has a 20-yard run, and he's 5th in the league in rushing, and he had 122 yards. So I think he's handling the running back one duties very well, bro. And then behind him, Rico Dowdle. I think also for the 3rd week in a row has made plays in the minimal snaps that he had. He had a very Marion Barber-like run on the screen, and then obviously had the screen for a touchdown pass, his first of his career. But they didn't get Deuce involved in that game, which I thought was strange. But do you think, and TP leads the league in touches, do you think they're going to start to divvy up those touches now that you see Rico gaining some momentum, and then Deuce has a special trait that they are still trying to tap into? Are they going to start to divvy up those reps?
I think they see the effectiveness of the rep count that they're having, the rep split they're having between Pollard and Rico, because like you said, Pollard is being very effective and productive in the runs that he's getting, but then so is Rico. So I think that the snap count as it applies right now is pretty solid for them. The question for me isn't Tony versus Rico, it's Turpin, Deuce versus Hunter Lipke. Because if you look at Sunday's game against the Cardinals, you didn't see Turpin offensively. You didn't see Deuce offensively, but you saw more of Hunter Lipke than you had in the previous 2 weeks. And this kind of goes to what you've said, what I've said, what a lot of our colleagues who actually pay attention to the team and cover the beat said, in that it's still early in this Texas Coast offense, and they're trying to figure a few things out. And one of those things will be, what should the rep split look like between Turpin, Lipke, and Vaughn? Lipke looked great against the Cardinals. He showed that he can be a lead blocker. He showed that he can be a receiver out of the backfield. Talk about that big play on the up the left side. He showed that he can be a handoff guy. And then I also think that Lipke is the remedy for some of these short yardage issues and some of these red zone issues. Give it to the powerful fullback who, oh, by the way, has speed and quickness, and he can either bulldoze over a guy or he can knife through a couple of blockers. So I think that's one of the big solutions for the red zone. And so the more play Lipke gets, the more it begs the question of how, because the Cowboys will get Deuce Vaughn involved. They will get Devontae Turpin involved. The question becomes, how do they decide who gets the most reps? And really, I think it's going to be on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
Last week, it was a Hunter Lipke game. I wouldn't be surprised if this week you didn't see a lot of Hunter Lipke as far as getting those catches out of the backfield, as much as you see maybe Turpin getting those, maybe Deuce Vaughn getting out of space, because the Jets game was a Deuce Vaughn game. So they're still kind of tweaking that. And I've always said that, this summer I should say, I don't expect the Texas Coast offense to really show itself until we get around week 5, week 6. Now, that was before the offensive line injuries.
Yeah.
So will it take another week or two to get ironed out? I'm not sure. But I think it's Lipke versus Vaughn versus Turpin. I think they got a good mix of Rico versus Tony as far as their split. I think you leave that alone, let those two guys cook.
I think it's a fantastic observation. I want to expand on that a little bit more. But that'll do it for our time today on a scientific method. Appreciate you, Pat, joining us. And check out his – you just dropped some science, right, on .com?
Science Lab drops in 45 minutes on
go.
DallasCowboys.com. This week's Science Lab, and it's about the explosiveness of the Cowboys. I went digging into the data, the trends. I did some interesting comps to see, where they were in a particular year versus where they are now. And I just wanted to see if they're trending in the right direction or if they're trending backward. And I was going to talk about it, and I found a lot of interesting stuff out. So check that out. Should be dropping at around 10 a.m. Central Time.
Do yourself a favor. Bring out your science coat and get into the lab, man. Appreciate you, Pat. We'll get with you next week, bro.
Absolutely. Let's go. 3-1.
Patrick No C Walker of DallasCowboys.com. Make sure y'all check him out. I'm dead serious when it comes to the Science Lab stuff. Even better than it was even last year. And Pat came on the scene firing on all cylinders. But these Science Lab articles are very insightful. And I'm a big numbers guy, and he finds numbers that I even missed, right? So I advise you guys to head over to .com and check out his article after the show. He said about 45 minutes. We'll probably be done in about 45 minutes ourselves here. No, get out of here. Y'all know how it is after we get done with the scientific method. We are going to take a quick little break, reset real quick, get your coffee, get your drink, your energy drink, water, whatever you got to do. We're going to come back. We're going to jump into this Cowboys defense against the Pats offense. Really, mostly the Pats offense and how they do things or how they've done things over the last few weeks. I watched the Miami game and I watched the Jets game. Two totally different defenses, and they attack those defenses, I think, in different ways. So let's do it.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions.
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. We'll do it live.
Before I move on, though, he was talking about the running back situation with Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, Turpin. You can throw Turpin in there with some of those plays, and Hunter Lipke. I still wonder if the reason why we didn't see Deuce Vaughn and Turpin is because of the thought process that, hey, we're down 3 offensive linemen. We can't do some of the things that we did the first 2 weeks because it's one thing to, hey, we'll calm it down. It's another thing to completely get rid of it in a game like that, where you kind of could use some more explosiveness, because this is a defense that wasn't going to allow you to go deep much, right? So if that's the case, let me get my explosives out there. And we talked about that yesterday with the Patriots. When we were previewing the Cowboys offense, I thought this is a great week to get in or get back into your bag with the explosives. TP, Deuce, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Turpin. Get these guys involved underneath so that they can get some yak opportunities. And then you take that shot deep downfield. But interesting that. And Lipke, I said this, I think, the other day in regards to Hunter Lipke. You could tell once you got him involved, right? 2 touches, 2 first downs. Once you got him involved, you saw the physicality come out as a blocker. I didn't really see that in the first 2 weeks. He was try hard, but it wasn't good. I thought you saw some good blocks on Sunday in regards to Hunter Lipke. And look, I'm all for using him in spurts, but be smart about it, right? Like, don't take out the explosive part of your offense to kind of hunker down and kind of, nerf really your offense. Now, 3rd and shorts or, 1st and 10s where you do the play action, you get it out to Hunter Lipke, cool. But y'all know how I feel. I still would rather, at this point, I don't know. Let's see if he can have back-to-back games as a blocker or whenever they decide to use him again. I'm still more leaning towards, like Pat said, hey, let's give him the ball down there in the red zone if you want to try to use him as a running back as opposed as to a blocker. Because, again, in the red zone, it just wasn't blocked up well from anyone, if we're being completely honest. So, really interesting stuff there. All right, let's go ahead and turn the page. Cowboys defense got to bounce back. I think you got a good opportunity to do so in this game against the Patriots offense. What is the Patriots offense? Key players: Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, Ezekiel Elliott, and obviously Mac Jones. Who? McCorkle Jones. Running things. Like I said, I watched the Jets game and I watched the Miami game. Or Jets defense versus Pats offense, as well as Miami's defense versus the Pats offense. In the Jets game, I think you saw that the Patriots understood the assignment. Meaning, we got to get the ball out in rhythm and quicker. Now, when I say quicker, I don't mean that they were getting it out in 2.1 seconds. No, it was technically 2.5. But there was a urgency. We're not going to hold this ball long. We understand that they have a pass rush up there. So I think he was very sound, is what the word I used, between the 20s. He knew where to go with the rock. There wasn't a whole lot of thinking, a whole lot of holding on to the rock too long. And for the most part, sound, solid. All it took was one possession, by the way. The rest were field goals. But one possession to score. It was a long, I think, 60-something yard touchdown pass to a tight end. Like 40 or 50 yards of it was run after the catch. It was a pop play action. Tight end pops out, gets it to him, and he just takes off down the field. Nobody was around him for a touchdown. They didn't really need much else when you're playing the New York Jets. They just pretty much methodically moved down the field. This shouldn't be a game, though, where they gut you with a bunch of schemed man beaters like last week. Because they don't have the speed, and obviously Dallas was respecting that speed 95% of the game last week, playing a ton of off coverage, and Josh Jacobs was like, okay, thank you, and we'll take this little 10-yard out for a first down. I like to see them be a little bit more physical with these wide receivers. They don't have a ton of speed out there. Their one dynamo type of guy is Demario Douglas. Shifty fella. He's got 12 targets on the season, but 7 of them are either just deep or behind the line of scrimmage. So he's kind of their get it to him now guy or run down the field guy. He's their dynamo, but again, he's not a guy that's targeted a high number of times week in and week out. But also, that's just not their scheme in regards to trying to beat you with a bunch of man beaters, utilizing speed. They don't have that. If they want to attack the outside, which Mac Jones showed the ability to do, wasn't successful to the receivers. If he wants to try to attack outside downfield, if he sees 101, he'll attempt it. Gilly and Bland, I think, are going to have opportunities because Mac will try to take advantage of it out there, but there's just not a lot out there. And for as much as we want to get on Gilly about the Cards game, it's speed that he struggles with. You're not really going to get that, I don't think, from the wide receivers with the Patriots. And we'll talk about them in a second. So with that said, I personally think this is going to be a Mike Gesicki and Hunter Henry type of game in the passing game. Like they're going to, and they got some good ones. These are two good tight ends. Gesicki runs fantastic. I'm a big fan of Gesicki. I think he's a really good tight end. He can move well. He runs good routes. Hunter Henry's a really good all-around guy. I think they're going to try to attack the Cowboys in the passing game in the middle of the field and with these guys. Because when you go to the outside, it's not a ton there. Hunter Henry leads their team in first down receptions, and Kendrick Bourne is their leading wide receiver in general, and he's second on the team in first down receptions. But he's got 9 more targets than the second leading receiver, which is Juju. And Juju ain't been that great, man. He got like 70 yards over the first 3 games. So, again, not a super athletic wide receiver group. Devontae Parker, though, is a sneaky guy you kind of got to worry about with the jump balls. But he's been pretty quiet this season as well. So, I do love the matchup on the outside. I love the matchup schematically in the passing game. I think the Cowboys can kind of get back to being their attacking selves. Now, in the run game, they are going to run the ball a lot. They're the 10th and they run the ball the 10th most times in the National Football League. And when against the Jets, when they were running and they had success, a lot of the times it was because they ate up that wide 9. The Dolphins were a different story, but the Jets, there was times, a handful of times, where Zeke and Stevenson just weren't getting touched to the second and third level because of how wide they play. Against Miami, that really wasn't the case. And when the Jets played more condensed, that really wasn't the case. Miami is a little closer to what we are in regards to speed and tenacity and how condensed they play in the front 7. They're not going to play a whole lot of wide 9. And they struggled to run the ball against Miami for the most part traditionally. But individually, just talking about Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke. With Stevenson, he's a slippery guy. He's a tough guy. I think he can glide at the line of scrimmage if you don't contain and remain sound in your gaps. He's a guy that sees it pretty well. And then obviously Zeke is Zeke. Zeke's going to run tough. He's going to run hard. You can't give Zeke a secondary option because he'll see it, and he's going to get what's there, and he's going to try to finish hard. Right? That's classic Zeke. If it's there, he's going to get it. And then he's going to put his head down and he's going to try to finish. But a lot of the successful runs you saw versus the Jets, I mean, these guys just weren't getting touched. So you got to make sure that you're rallying to this ball and you're winning on the other side of the line of scrimmage. They don't do a whole lot schematically on the ground. They don't. It's a lot of it is line up, hat on hat, try to get some movement and allow your running backs to find a crease. When they do those traps, those inside zone type of things, it's very hit or miss. A lot of it miss. There was a couple traps that they tried to use where they got a tight end trying to block the defensive tackle, and it just gets blown up, and there's nothing there. So I think where they can find success, or they'll try to find success, let me say that, is getting to the outside. They're not going to run a lot of clever things. This isn't Arizona. This isn't Philly. They're not going to run any kind of clever things from a ground standpoint. So how do I get some easy buttons from my offensive lineman and some room for my running backs? Tosses. Get some sweeps outside. Let's get them some room to see it and then react. That's where they kind of had a lot of their success. Even against Miami, wasn't a lot of success, but running up the middle when it was condensed, just didn't have a lot of success on the ground in either of those games. And when the Cowboys played sound and played condensed against Arizona, it wasn't the middle that killed you. It was the outside that you really got gashed with and not being sound. So the Cowboys play sound, play in their run fits. They should have success against the Patriots run offense. The minute they don't, obviously things like this can happen. So that's the matchup, I think, down there between the Cowboys defense versus the Patriots offense. I think they're going to try to play short game a lot. They don't have the vertical aspect to their offense. Lots of tight ends. I think you're going to get a lot of 12 personnel packages. And to be completely honest, they didn't really run that well out of 12 against the Jets. Because, again, you're condensed, right? So maybe Bill Belichick comes out here. I forget the McDaniels, right? Not McDaniels. What's his name? The cat over there in Vegas. But week to week, Tom Brady and him would change things up. I don't know if that's necessarily the case anymore with the Mac Jones and Bill O'Brien. I think they're just going to do what they do. And when they come out there in that 12 or 13 personnel package, things are much more condensed and they don't really get off as easy. Now, when they came out 11 personnel or they spread and the Jets were playing in that wide 9, oh man, it was inviting. You get a delay and you had a whole lane. You get a toss or you have Orlando Brown. By the way, shouts out to him. He's playing some decent ball. Orlando Brown's pulling, and you've got a clear lane for Ezekiel Elliott or Stevenson, and they're not getting touched until way down the field. But when you touch them, pause. But when you get some bodies around, some traffic on the interior, not really breaking a whole lot of big runs off of that. Zeke and Stevenson both, I think, in the Jets game, they navigated through one of them and got loose. But most of it is, if it's there, they put their head down, they're going to get what's there. If it's not, as long as you wrap up, you should be good. So they're going to run the ball. They're going to do some pop passes, play action. I'd like to see Dallas play more condensed in this game. Speaking of the edges, I'd like to see Dallas press these wide receivers. Say you just going to have to beat me. I don't think you can beat me deep. I'm not afraid of your speed. I'd like to see, obviously, J-Ron and whomever else, maybe it's Bell out there against these tight ends, LVE, Clark, whoever is playing against these tight ends, handle their own. I mean, it's not going to be an easy task. Gesicki is a good tight end. Hunter Henry, good tight end. I like to see these guys be up for it, be up for the challenge. It wasn't the tight ends that beat you in the Arizona Cardinal game, and we had seen the Cowboys play well against these tight ends over the first 2 weeks of the season. So you can bounce back in this game. They just got to be there, I think, mentally, and J-Rock talked about that. So that's the matchup between the Cowboys defense, I keep saying Jets. I even having them know. Cowboys defense, Patriots offense from what I've seen on the film. All right, get a couple calls here, and I did miss Super Chats yesterday. I think it was only Landlord anyway, but I want to make sure I'm going to pull up the Super Chat list. Okay, yeah, I got you, Landlord, if you even in here. I'll read your Super Chat from yesterday and in general, bro. So I got you, man. All right, we'll get a couple calls going here, and we moving and grooving. Let's get Marco in the building. What's good, Marco?
What's up, Scott? I was calling you to. I had a couple points. I wanted to see your what you thought about moving Parsons back to play linebacker a little bit more.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong dude. I've always been a fan of putting Micah at linebacker and then rushing him when it mattered. But somebody asked me this last week, and I'm like, man, it's just not gonna happen. So I ain't even gonna get put my emotions into it. I think Micah be elite linebacker. He could be elite pass rusher, whatever you want him to do. But obviously, pass rushing is king, right? So I get it. Yeah.
And I feel like maybe we could put some bigger dudes up front, and then Micah could fly to the ball. You know.
It don't matter who. It don't matter who you put in front of Micah, bro. I think he excel. He'll excel at backer, but they're not going to do it.
Yeah, I know. And I got a question. What do you think about moving my boy Izzy? That we had him as a DNP or whatever this weekend. Why we ain't playing Izzy? I think we should play Izzy at corner. I thought he played perfect last year.
Well, he wasn't really he was a slot guy last year, right? In spurts. He was a slot guy against big slots. Israel McQuamble would have got ate up by Rondale Moore.
Yeah, I think he's just a little too small.
That's why I thought about it too, because I was shocked. When I saw him DNP, I'm like, he just had a cornerback injury. Why is he DNP? But I'm like, you know what? This ain't the matchup. This ain't the matchup for him. Now, this is what I will say, Marco. I would like to see Izzy on the boundary. If he's going to do cornerback things, put his ass on the boundary. Allow him to use that length, like Diggs uses that length. But the slot, no, man. Like, unless you're playing against, Jennings, Godwin,
Scott,
or somebody.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Scott, I was saying I wanted him to play the corner, outside corner, take big spot, the same kind of length. And I don't think we ever gave Izzy a chance, like a real chance. So I thought we played, but he played safety.
Yes.
I thought he was a corner. I mean, corner coming out of college. I think he's long, and one thing I like about him, he tried to get his hands on him, and he's physical. Like, he's super physical. He tried to put his hands on him. And I thought my boy Bland I saw Bland get turned around last week. And I'm not saying Bland played bad. Nobody played bad to me, real bad.
Well,
I ain't gonna say he played bad.
Yeah, a lot of people played bad in that game, but Bland, I thought Bland ended up, once it was over, like when it started, it was like, oh man, this might be a long day for Bland. But at the end of the day, it was like, oh, Bland played fine. Bland 2 receptions, 23 yards in that game. I mean, you do that every game. Nobody's ever going to talk about you having a bad game.
I'll say.
But I'll say this: I would, if they're going to do anything with Izzy, put him on a boundary. That would kick Bland back inside. But I'm going to stick to what I said the other day. Give Bland 2 games, and I think he'll be back at quote unquote home. Because last year he didn't really have a chance to really prep to play. It was, hey, playoffs are here, you outside at cornerback. And he still held his own down there, right? So I think Bland will be fine. But the depth on the boundary, I'd like to see the depth be Israel Mukuamu out there. I'm with you.
Fact. Hey, Scott, I got one more thing, and I'll get off. Hey, I know we talked a lot about this in the summertime, and I hate to bring it back up. But I just don't see where Schoonmaker. We could have drafted a guard, and I don't see where Schoonmaker. I was listening to people over the summer say he's a good blocker, and I was watching the game. I know it's like his second game. Yeah, he is, but I thought my boy Ferguson blocked just as well, just the same.
Hey, Marco, you're not gonna get me to argue about it. I didn't want to take a tight end, but he's here. It's September 28th, week 4. I'm not about to be crying about spilled milk. So he's here. Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, what I'm saying is I feel like I know we can't go back, but I'm saying, like, I feel like that hurt us because we look at Tyron. He's sitting over there, look healthy to me. I don't know what's wrong with him, but I'm just saying, look healthy to me.
His knee.
But, Scott, I appreciate you, brother. You always give me a chance to voice my opinion. I appreciate
of course,
you,
man.
bro.
Yes, sir.
Be blessed, bro.
You too, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, I could do this every week. Look, Schoonmaker was not the pick I wanted to make, but I think Schoon, he dropped the ball. I get it, man. He dropped the pass. But he talked about blocking. I think Schoon has been good in the blocking department. In fact, y'all know how I feel. I think he should be a tight end 2 right now, and 12 personnel sets should be Schoonmaker, Ferguson moving forward. That's just me, but I don't see Hendershot. Just don't get it. And again, I think he's lucky that John Stevenson got hurt, but hopefully these guys all bounce back. But yeah, of course, I'd have took a guard, backer. Who else was on the board? There was some other people. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And maybe you could have got a tight end later, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Cowboy Mike, what's up, man?
What's up with you, Will Steele?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I went over some film last night.
Okay.
I watched the Patriots game against the Jets. I did look at their last week's opponent, but the rain, I was like, I don't feel like I'm getting a good look. But
you talking about Miami?
Kendrick Bourne, Miami. I didn't like that game too much. I was like, man, I'm kind of scared about the Patriots, bro. I mean, probably because of Belichick, but I don't think they should be able to stay on the field with us with what we did last week. What you think?
Yeah, I mean the Patriots, it got Bill, like you said. You don't, when you're going up against a Bill Belichick coach team, you better be ready to come to play, because that's going to be a sound. That's one of the words I use for their offense. And discipline, one of the words I use for their defense. That's going to be a sound and disciplined team. They're not going to be penalized a whole lot. They're not going to beat themselves. Yeah, you got to be ready to play against these dudes, because they're not going to make it easy on you for 4 quarters. So yeah, I mean, this is at the end of the day, it's Bill out there. Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick is no slouch. Yeah. So.
And Stevens, their running back, he's an OU guy. I watched him a lot in college too. He doesn't really scare me, as long as if you can keep him going east and west. It's when he squares up his shoulders to go north and south. He can be a problem if there's wide open lanes. I mean, he's way better than what Arizona brought to the table, but I think our mentality.
Connor underrated. I like Connor. But no, I think I like Ramondre Stevenson. I think Ramondre is an underrated back. Again, I called him a glider. Like he kind of glides to the line of scrimmage, and again, if there's a secondary option, meaning if the hole is closed and that backside you don't fit it, or they got a tight end, or maybe the tackle kicks out and there's something there, he'll just kind of glide, and next thing you know, he's getting 4 yards because he doesn't have to stop in his momentum moving forward. I like him. I like the running back. I think him and Zeke are more similar than they are different. That's the thing, and I talked about this.
Yeah, I think Zeke is actually a little quicker than Stevens, Ramondre.
I would never use the word quick with Ezekiel Elliott, but
yeah, well, you know what I mean, kind of like agile, but Ramondre.
I don't. I wouldn't use that with him, but I'm a bit shocked that the Patriots don't have that kind of complementary backfield like they normally do. They used to have a Burkhead, a White, all these kind of dynamos that come out the backfield and catch the rock. They're not necessarily doing that this year. They kind of just got 2 hammers, and that's what they're running with.
And I got one more thing, and I'll go off the air with this one, man. Van Der Esch, his new nickname is Vando. I'm no longer calling him Van Der Esch because, man, he's playing mind tricks with me. Like, last year in the playoffs, I was like, oh, I need this Van Der Esch all the time. But last week, I'm like, man, I just hope the real Van Der Esch shows up and not Vando. Yeah. And I'll take the rest off the air, man. Have a good evening. Say what you do, bro.
Appreciate you, big dog. Hey, man, there's a debate going around, and this is what we do in the community, and there's times I appreciate it a whole lot. The real conversation that we're having within the community is seeing, okay, we don't got a bunch of depth at linebacker, so who's next man up? Devin Harper. Can Devin Harper get in there and do something different than what you see in that linebacker? And there's a gif. Monique, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. Like I don't want to wait until week 17. We rolling out whomever, because all year we having issues at backer or something, right? And we find out that don't work either. Let's go out and try to get a guy. Man, let's go ahead and try this thing out earlier in the season and see if maybe we can get a better ROI. Let's do it earlier in the season. And then that way that person can keep going. But we in week 4, and these dudes do not care that they only got 3 linebackers on the team. That's crazy. And look, I know, we got 17 safeties. Hey, Dan, all that little cute, at some point, the team is going to say, you want to roll out here with this light-ass second unit, just going to run power at you. I'm saying. I look over at Vosh. My man said, "Yeah, man, Zeke looking quick." False. Didn't happen. Hey, look. So there's a hip quickness to Zeke at the LOS sometimes. You'll see it sometimes. You even saw it, a few times against the Jets, but I definitely wouldn't use the word quick in regards to him. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying, man. This is a new one here. 919, what's up?
What's going on, Scott? Listen, I'm man, just hit on it. I'm fed up with Leighton Vander Esch. He is absolutely slow as hell, and just I don't know.
Isn't it weird, bro? Like, we talk about all this speed on defense, and we're just complacent with having Vander Esch out there.
Right, and then you want to put him as the edge rusher with no speed. Like, what are we doing there? But what I really wanted to ask you for our offense when it comes to Belichick attacking the defense, I know you talked about it a little bit. I'm interested. Do you guys think Christian Gonzalez is going to travel with CD?
No. I think he'll travel with CD on the boundary. Like, whenever CD lines up outside, there's a possibility he does that. But CD plays on, he's played like 40-something snaps back-to-back weeks in the slot, and that's somewhere where Christian Gonzalez hasn't been. So, I mean, look, but Bill is Bill, bro. Maybe he'll say, hey, this is the week we're going to put, Christian Gonzalez in the slot. So, one of the things that Bill Belichick has done historically throughout his career is he'll take away your number one wide receiver by putting the number 2 corner and a safety over top, and then putting his number 1 corner on your second best option. That's been like a Bill Belichick staple for years. Now, there's times where you're going to have number 1 against number 1 when CeeDee Lamb is outside, but he's predominantly a slot guy when all 3 of our receivers are playing. So unless Gonzalez travels inside, he's only done that, like 17 times over 3 games. I just can't see him being inside the slot for 40-something snaps a game. If it happens, that'd be a shocker. But so, no, I don't think he'll follow him unless he's on the boundary. Then maybe he will then.
Right. And then I listened to one of the 4-letter guys today. I don't normally do that, but this might be the best thing Dan Orlovsky ever said, ever. He's right. Why are we not getting the ball to CD in the red zone more? Jake Ferguson has more targets in the red zone than fucking CeeDee Lamb. Is that not concerning to you, or is that not a big deal? What do you think about that?
We didn't really do it a lot last year either. Or period. For years, I kept asking for jump ball situations to Lamb. Like that just really hadn't been the MO. But, brother, when you do throw it to him, CeeDee Lamb can't give up on the damn play. You can't give up on the play, bro. Like you can't do that, because then you know what? I don't want to go back to you. But I mean, there's other ways to get it to him. So they gave it to him on a jump ball. He gives up on a play. They gave it to him on a pitch. Didn't like that. They had a kind of corner route going to CeeDee Lamb, but I think that play was designed to go to Cooks. Again, last week is the really first concerning week for me for the red zone, and they actually attempted to get it to CeeDee Lamb. It just didn't work.
Yeah, that fade should have been a slant in my opinion, but I don't know. He's our number 1 guy. I think you see most teams attack all defenses in the red zone with their top target, and I just don't see us do it often. But that just might be how we are. And last thing, and I'm gonna go. And I'm tired of seeing this, and I know you talked about it, but I'm tired of seeing it on Twitter. I'm not going to say no names. It's people probably on Twitter. But why are people saying we are missing Zeke and Dalton Schultz in the red zone? I cannot buy into that. And I'm just like, we talked about it all offseason. We don't want Zeke anymore. It's time to move on. Time to move on for Schultz. But here it is. Cowboys fans will get on Twitter and be like, we need Zeke back in the red zone. If we were not scoring from 5 yards out, okay, I'd understand. But we haven't had those problems. Yeah, 5 yards in, my bad, yeah. But that's not been the problem. I can't understand or wrap my head around. It's been angering me. I've been arguing with people at work. Oh, y'all need Zeke back. Y'all need Zeke. Y'all can't score in the red zone. Zeke would be scoring. That's bullshit.
But you got to understand, people at work are watching ESPN.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Like, people at work not really paying attention to the Cowboys, man. And you gotta allow yourself not to. And look, I'm guilty, because I even made a tweet about it. I didn't understand how all this energy all of a sudden pops up after a game like that, where you don't have 3 of your starting offensive line. But where was this energy when the Cowboys were successful down there the prior 2 weeks? But that they don't care about context. They don't care about real. They were waiting for this was eventually going to happen. You weren't going to be completely successful in the red zone every game, and the minute it happened, that was going to happen. People were going to cry for Zeke or cry for Dalton Schultz, when in reality, the week before, your tight end scored 2 touchdowns in the red zone. The week before, you scored a 2-point conversion at the 1-yard line, and you had 3 rushing touchdowns in week 1, and you had another rushing touchdown from the 4 that was called back. So nobody was really complaining about that, until all of a sudden we're putting ourselves in 3rd and 7 from the 10. In 2nd and 8 from the 9. You know what I mean? We're playing deeper in the red zone and weren't executing or getting pushed on the line. So all I would say is your friends at work, the barbershop, you just kind of, you got it, bro. You right. And don't get your emotions off. Because, look, it's Zeke. You know what I mean? People are emotionally attached to Zeke, bro. And the very first chance, I should say, that they can say, See, we need Zeke. It's gonna happen. It's gonna pop up. So.
Yeah. Well, appreciate it, man. Good talking to you. Appreciate everything you boys do. Love y'all so, man. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Yeah, don't get upset, man. Don't get upset with it. You be all right. Oh, damn, I forgot to. I ain't getting all these calls, goddamn. We had like 2 left. We gonna get the 2 that was on here. One of them was Reek. The other one was MJ. What's good, Reek?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Skies? What's going on, Cowboy Nation? Hey, man, this is what I wanted to say. Good morning. This is what I wanted to say too, man. If people, I know people from the old school, but you can go. I know you can go pull this clip up on YouTube. If anybody remembers the movie Coming to America, every time I see Leighton Vander Esch on the field, I think of this scene. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. This dude like sexual chocolate. He dropped the mic, and one dude clapping, and I'm like, this dude good and terrible. I need him off the field, man. And what I mean by that is, this dude, every time I see this guy on the field, man, he just looked like like a lumbering dude, big dude, all this weight, all this muscle, but they ain't doing nothing. You know what I mean? They trying to sell me a dream with this cat, and I feel like the Cowboys have a tendency of letting the
I said LV Reek is back. I feel you though. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I feel like the Cowboys have a tendency of being too damn loyal, too damn long. Like with Tyron, with LVE, it just like they have a history of doing this shit instead of just sitting certain dudes down or playing them less and letting some of these young cats that's up under them in their shadow get out here and try to show what they can do.
Yeah.
Because a person like Clark, I feel like he could be better if we put him on the field more. If he gets more plays, more snaps, we might see that Clark that we seen from LSU. The reason that we drafted him, even though he had a neck injury, I'm tired of the Cowboys not putting these young dudes in to see what they can do because we got a veteran dude that's only going to be here one more year. He's gonna be gone.
He signed a 2-year deal, but here's my issue with the LVE thing in regards to responsibility, because I think the problem is, bro, they put too much responsibility on LVE and not on Clark or Harper or whomever else is playing linebacker, right? So they kind of are almost forced to have to play him, no matter if he's not really making a damn difference in regards to difference making plays, etc., or impact player, because he knows the defense, he's the green dot guy, he's putting everybody in position. That's all fine and dandy, but when it's time to get down to the nitty gritty, can you make plays? And I just don't see that. I don't see him as a playmaker. Not saying everybody got to be a playmaker, but I mean, there's times where it's like, hey, yo, just go. If you'd have just went, you would have made a play right there. You'd have made a stop. You'd have had tackle for losses. That's really not his game anymore. But the responsibility is so heavy on him that I don't think they have anybody right now they trust to take on said responsibility. So we're going to see more LVE, unfortunately. In reality, you're right. I like to see the young guys get a chance to up. And then if they mess up, now we can try to find different solutions. But I just not going to bang my head against the table or against the wall year in, year out with LVE. I think he is what he is, bro.
Yeah, and he is what he is, and he messing up the flow of this damn defense. You know what I mean? Because I don't need my linebacker. My thing is like this with LV, right? He has spots and moments that he's playing good when he's mainly in coverage. You know what I mean? But far as coming down thumping, you know what I'm saying? But coming down like going forward thumping, hell no. He ain't shedding no blocks. He ain't going down to lay the wood on somebody. And then when he do hit somebody, pause on the wood part. But when he do hit somebody, it look awkward. It don't look like, you know what I'm saying? It look awkward. You know what I mean? It don't look like a flush hit. It look like it just don't look right. You know what I mean? And I really believe if we let either Harper or Clark get in there and hit somebody, it'll look better than what it's looking. But they have to figure that out because sometimes, I just hope that we get over the politics, man. I need people like Wanye on the field. I need people like Bell back on the field because I'm gonna tell you something, man. In the first 2 games, when those 2 dudes was on the field, the quarterbacks were double clutching. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no straight shoot. I'm gonna shoot down the field, or like last week. I didn't see Dobbs double clutch the ball 1 time last week.
Yeah, they
what I mean?
game planned they game planned the hell
problem.
out of you in this game, but also you weren't playing with that lead, bro. It's kind of we can't go to week 1 and week 2. You were up 26-0 after the first quarter in week 1. In week 2, you were up the entire game, and you had Zach Wilson playing quarterback, and that Jets offense is not good. What happened in this game is you had to play 2-dimensional. And in playing 2-dimensional, the Cardinals never had to get out of their game plan, and their game plan was fantastic. You had no answers. Like, as much as I love Wanye Thomas and these other guys, I don't think one specific person makes a difference in that game. I think you just got outcoached, you got outplayed, and not everybody was flying to the ball. Not everybody was doing their jobs or in their gaps. So I think what you're talking about for Wanye and LV, I think this is something moving forward. But one person wasn't changing that entire game on Sunday. I think you just flat out came out flat and got out coached from a scheme standpoint, if I'm being completely honest.
I got one more thing before I get off this phone with you, man. Now, what's the point? Like with Dan Quinn, if we've been having problems with running quarterbacks, why are we now scouting with Trey Lance?
How do you know they're
during
not?
the week?
You saying that like you think they're not? I'm pretty sure they are, bro.
Okay, because I'm like, I think we can shore this up because Trey Lance is an athletic quarterback, and like I think we should be able to shore this up with these running quarterbacks and come up with something to slow them down.
You can come up with whatever you want to come up with, but if you don't go out there and you're not disciplined, it don't matter. If Micah Parsons doesn't fly the hell,
I agree.
through the line, he stops it. That's not, it's simple right there. I'm gonna say the same thing I said before. Go look around the league, bro. Running quarterbacks are problems for every team. Like it's a problem. What happens though is when you are playing upfield so damn much, right? That's your mentality. I'm just gonna knock the quarterback's head off. All it takes is a simple read option, and now next thing you know, there's a 20-yard gain. There's a difference between scrambling and rushing. I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. That's fine to me. That means that we're getting after your ass, and you just got to run around and try to survive. That's different. That means your coverage was good and your pass rush got home, or at least caused it. But when you're giving up big plays off of a quarterback design run, that's when I get a little bit more concerned if you can't stop that all game. Some teams can have more success doing it. The Patriots did against Philly. Some other teams like Dallas, they don't have success doing it because your scheme is so aggressive upfield that you can be game planned against, a la Arizona Cardinals, bro.
And I'm up out of here with this one. Do you think that D-Law need to slow down a little bit when he's coming around that corner at the quarterback, so he can make a better get a better angle to sack the quarterback? I'm up out of here.
Shouts out to Dobbs. All right, but appreciate you. Shouts out to Dobbs, man. It happens, bro. Like when you get a quarterback that's as agile as these guys, Justin Fields, it happened last year. You come in through, you get a clean shot. It happens. I've seen J.J. Watt miss Tony Romo after destroying Tyron Smith, and Tony does a spinneroonie. Like, these things happen. I'm not criticizing a damn thing about DeMarcus Lawrence from that game. He was one of the only dudes to really hold it down defensively. So no, I think D-Law just got to continue to be D-Law. But shouts out to Josh Dobbs. He's made a good play by scrambling around. Good thing is, though, it still was a sack or it still was a tackle at the line of scrimmage and a stop by pushing him out. So, now I think D-Law is fine. D-Law just needs to continue to play his game. He's been one of the best edge defenders in the league, both against the run and against the pass. What we need is Micah to kind of calm down a little bit against that particular type of quarterback. Against this one, a little different. He ain't pulling the ball and running a lot. He ain't got to really worry about that too much. So I'd imagine that we'll see a whole lot of pressures from Micah and these guys firing off and getting to him. Now, if he wants to try to pull it and run, look, McCorkle Jones do not have the wheels to do so. No sirree, Bob. You don't. All right, Marv, what you got for us, man?
What up, family? Everybody make good points. I'm listening to everything they say. I watched some of the tape too on them teams, and like you said on the defense, everybody was making boo-boo mistakes. Now, what I like about Runye, if you watch the tape to everybody, when the linemen come, what Runye do that I wish 55 would do, he beat the big man, he'll go real fast before the big man can put his hands on him. That's why he's making his tackle. 55 will be like, oh, should I go? And now he got it. Now go watch the tape to everybody on here. You'll see your run rate, hit that gap so fast, like on that run, at 55 just would have shot through there, boom. It wouldn't have been no 45-yard touchdown. Runye, when he was playing against Jets, and the Giants.
You mean Giants? He barely played against the Jets.
Yeah. And then the corners, like you say, they got to play bump and run, and they are going to do a lot of. This one they may do a lot of play action, but that's okay. Now this one Parsons watching because they do be watching y'all shows. Parsons, this is the day you could act a fool. When you play against Philly and a running quarterback. No, bro. This one Bill Parcells probably would have cut you out, bro, if he was playing with Bill Parcells, if you don't stay in your gaps. You see what I'm saying? And you just wait. And that's what I like about 90 wait, and that makes the quarterback, oh, he ain't moving. That's what 90 does. 11 got to start being smart. You know, when you play against a slow quarterback that's not running, yeah, you could go like a missile.
Yeah.
But when you play against a running quarterback, they're going to fake on you, bro, slow down.
Yeah.
And then another thing, Scott, still, when I saw the film on the half, let me tell y'all something. I love Fergie, but Fergie missed a block. When we was at the 10, if Fergie would have made that block, 87, that's what I wish 86 would have been there. He'd have made that block, and 20 would have scored a 10-yard touchdown.
No. We looked at that on the film. That wasn't on Ferguson. Let me tell you what happened there.
Who was it on?
That's on
What
Terrence.
happened?
That's on Terrence.
Terrence Steele messed up?
Yeah. Terrence Steele, you can't love tap that defensive end right there. And Vacha's in the chat.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You
can't love tap. Yeah, because you're asking your tight end to jump a full gap over, flip his hips, and seal. But what you need Terrence Steele to help you out before you get to that duo block or that double team. So Terrence kind of gave a little love tap. And what was it, 97? 97, fired. Yeah. I mean, when you shoot the gap that fast, I don't even think a tackle would have been able to get to that guy because he didn't get any help. I think number 97 was already in that gap, and he just fired through. So you need Terrence Steele to kind of give him more help, allow Ferguson to get over, and then once that happens, I think it's called hip to hip a little bit, right, Vash? I'm learning, bro. I'm learning. Yeah. But you got to get a little bit more hip to hip. And then you need Terrence Steele to get up on number 90, whoever it was. It was 66 and Terrence Steele doing a duo. Instead, Terrence kind of love taps. He don't even love tap. He kind of sticks his arm out there, gets to the defensive tackle. Number 97 fires in or whatever number he was, and he tackles Tony in the backfield. And you're right, though. Had that block been made, the Cowboys scored. Touchdown. I think there's a touchdown happening right there. And that's what I meant by that was the main problem in the red zone from a running standpoint. Is that the Cowboys could not block it up. At any given moment, they just could not block it up. Right. And you saw the difference, I think, in the first 2 weeks and them blocking it up as opposed to Sunday. So.
And then, still, for all the Cowboy fans, and y'all going to crack up. This is when y'all going to crack up. They had the right play set up, y'all. This when 88. And number 4, this is when you do the options. Instead of going fade, he just came up the line quick and went this slant, wide open first down.
What are you talking about now?
Guys on the fade to 88, and he didn't jump. But on that play, if he'd have did his option route then, because they do option routes still sometimes.
But that's not necessarily that's not necessarily an option route. That was just you don't have an option like right at the line of scrimmage. I mean, if that's the case, that's called a hot, right? Like if there's a blitz, I'm running a slant. But this was a clear as day. We're running a fade. I just don't get why CeeDee Lamb, number one, quite literally walked out of his release, and then he gave up on the play. Like his head wasn't in that play from the jump. But yeah, I think we do got to get back to some slants. I'll go hindsight on you, Marv. If you watched our film session on Tuesday, the play where we went to Cooks and they did that blitz. Yeah, I would have went to Michael Gallup on the slant. They ran kind of a double out on that side as opposed to bringing. Obviously, right? You don't want to run Cooks into Michael Gallup. But that's something where I get to the line of scrimmage and maybe we run some type of audible and say, if he blitzes here, I got Michael Gallup for an easy touchdown on the slant. We didn't run a lot of like real design slants to these guys down there in the red line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm not really mad at the offense because I know what he was scared because he had new linemen at the same day. We think we're going to do these plays, and then all the linemen ain't playing like, oh, my God, I'm going to get these young boys killed. But now, what I wish, I'm be honest with you, man, still 77. I'm sorry, bro. We just gotta get rid of you, bro. I love you, but enough is enough, man. You always let us down. I'm tired of you. I would have rather start 76, put a tight end, Shoemaker over there, 87, and bump and let them boys ball like that. But 89, no, he need to be the third tight end. Start 87, 86, and let's go, man. You see what I'm saying? I'm tired of 89. 89 drops too many passes. Then he have a stupid look on his face. Oh, no, Butterfingers. Butterfinger, you playing scared. Get him out. And you said Dan Quinn was pissed. And I'm going to tell you, and still, no, I'm still pissed. Because there's no way Arizona should have ran those like that. I'm still mad. I'm not going to get happy until if they beat the 49ers, then I won't be mad no more. That's what I want. I know everybody on here agree with me. If Dan Quinn stopped the Patriots this week and beat the 49ers next week, and then, okay, I'm back with you, Dan Quinn. If you don't do it, I'm going to be pissed at you all year. Sorry. That Cardinal game got me up. I'm still mad. Pissed off.
I ain't mad at you for being pissed off, but I'm mad at you for basically giving up on Dan after one game. I'm a little upset about that, bro.
No, I'm just saying.
Come on, Mark. One game.
It's time for us to go to another level, though, still.
We need that another level.
We got to.
Yeah.
We got to go to another level and stop playing. You know, I'd rather him to be a conservative then and play like New England. I wish he would have just played like New England last week. Let's play conservative football and don't go too crazy. We would have won on defense.
Let me say this, Marv. I am interested to see if Dan can show a different side of him this year because, again, I think we're a hyper-aggressive, head-hunting, upfield speed defense, but week to week, you're not always gonna need that. Some weeks you are gonna have to play a little bit more too high. We play so much damn cover one, and it's crazy. So much man that look, there are teams who are capable of scheming that, and you don't have Diggs over there anymore, right? So you do have to be conscious of that. You're going to miss Diggs in a way. Not saying that you can't overcome it, but it's not the same. So you got to kind of compensate for that. So I'll keep an eye on if Dan Quinn can kind of adapt his dang on self. But I do trust him.
And one more.
And
one more. And I agree with everybody else. I'm going to say it again. Number 24, y'all, played better than the cornerback that went to Carolina that we wanted to draft in the first round.
Number 24.
Israel.
Oh, is he?
Israel. Played corner. Israel McConnell played on the same team as the corner
Marv,
that we were going to try to draft.
Marv, you out your rabbit-ass mind, Marv.
Well, you better go watch the damn film. I watch college football more than you, bro.
Mind, bro.
I'm a six.
I don't give a damn about no college football. J.C. Horn.
I don't care about that shit either. Bro, I'm 60 years old, and I watch football too, bro.
Marv,
I watch football
Marv,
too.
I don't care about no college.
I might not got no show.
Is Israel McQuamu better than J.C. Horn in the NFL?
Not right now, because they ain't getting no action.
That's what we talking about then. Like, look, J.C. Horn
but
hurt.
I'm just saying,
but when J.C. Horn playing, J.C. Horn
he played good in college.
I don't care about no college. That's 3 years ago. We in the pros now, bro.
Well,
I thought you was talking about he better than him now. I mean, obviously he wasn't better than him in college.
No.
J.C. Horn went top 10 and he's playing well in pro.
But I'm just saying though, 24 could cover though, man. Get him in the chance. That's what I'm just saying.
No, that's not what you are. That's not all you was saying. If that's all you was saying, hey, I'm cool. I'm with that. Let's see what he can do out there. But why you got to down another man and try to big up this guy when you're wrong? He ain't better than J.C.
Horn. I'm just saying he played good in college just like Horn did.
No, you said he played better than Horn. You said he's better than the dude that got drafted by the Panthers, and that's why I kind of had that reaction. But
I'm saying that's just in college. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
it's pro now.
I let you.
How's Horn doing nothing?
He got hurt. When Horn wasn't hurt, Horn was playing magnificent. Yeah, Horn hurt, bro. Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, he hurt guy. He hurt guy.
Thank God we didn't draft him.
I mean, I don't care if he wasn't hurt guy. Thank God we didn't draft him because we drafted Michael freaking Parsons.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about.
Get damn feel right now. All right, Mark.
But all I want to say, man, good show, bro. And I'm going to see what happens this week. I ain't saying nothing. I'm going to see what this defense do.
Appreciate you, bro. Brother L, Marv did hit me with that. Brother L said, you may got your little show or whatever. This is what we do. Your little show. You got your little show. But I watch college football. Way more college football than you. You damn sure do, Marv. I know you do. I don't watch college football, like y'all do until the end of the year and I get into the lab. Here, you got your little ass show. But I watched J.C. Horn not be better than Israel McQuamu, the top 8 pick in the 6th round pick. I watched him be better than him. All right, man. Hey, you got it. Ain't better than him in the pros, though. Hey, 6081 boy, he did say that. Marv said, I'm 60 goddamn years, so I watch more ball than you, sir. Dude, bro, hey, relax. I ain't the college professional. But I like to think I'm a little bit of a professional when it comes to the Cowboys, though. With your little ass show. Hey, y'all crazy, man. Can I talk about this play? Vacha, you still in here, man? Call into the show. Did I lock the phone? Vacha like, that's guy, what the hell you got me doing working in the morning? You know what? Hold on. Let me just wait. Let's watch this play. Cause we talked about this on Tape Tuesday. Bing boom. Bow. Where we at here? Number 97. Can y'all see y'all can see my cursor. Number 97, who already, so you are here. I just want confirmation and make sure I'm right on this, and if I'm wrong or where I'm wrong or where these things could be better. Okay. But number 97 is already lined up on the inside shoulder of Ferguson. So he already has an advantage. All right. He already has an advantage. What we need to happen here is Terrence still needs to be a little bit better in how he helps. The hand, it would be fine if number 97 was poo-pooing off the line of scrimmage. But he ain't. Watch how fast he gets down the line of scrimmage at snap. He's firing, bro. He's fine. I mean, asking your tight end to jump this gap while he's firing that fast without any help. I mean, Terrence doesn't do anything. So I need Terrence to help out a little bit more here so that Ferguson can get across that shoulder. Because once he's seeing his back of his jersey, the play's he's done. It's over unless he holds. And Terrence gets up on number 93, Ledbetter, and he really didn't need to, because I personally think that if you look at Bass did get got now. He did kind of get got, but I thought he recovered a little bit better and got him to flip. Now help me out here, Vach. And then he gets up on number 7, and this is where I think we're talking about a touchdown. I mean, look how far back number 97 is in that damn backfield. Had he not been, let's pretend this is sealed up, right? TJ Bass gets off of 93. Kaiser White, I think he's walking into the end zone, y'all. I do. Or he's barreling number 34 over, and we're scoring a touchdown. So I think this is more T Steele than it is Jake. I don't care who the hell your tight end is in this situation. You're going to need to help out a little bit. I mean, his hand is gone. Right there. That's kind of how I saw it. Yeah, he did get a little whipped there. Bass he got whipped a little bit. But what I like about Bass, let me tell you what I like about Bass, is I think he recovers well. He keeps it moving, and he recovers a little bit better, man. Well, I got to take my meds. Marv said he's 60 goddamn years old. Marv better take his dang on meds. Hey, black man, and I'm not talking about all the black gentlemen watching in the chat. He said, we still talking about AZ, get over it. Sir, I don't know if you new here, but we're going to talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about on this show. So when the fans call in and they have something to talk about and it's Arizona, I'll bring it back up. We're watching some film. We're learning some things here, man. If y'all don't like it, y'all could easily click off of the dang show. I don't understand people do that. Go in these comments getting all crazy. If it ain't your cup of tea for the day, keep it moving. I don't get it. Get over it. Nah, I'm cool. If our callers and our viewers have a thought about the game, I will give my thought about the game. It's that simple, bro. Now, I got a couple of y'all that snuck up in here, man. We'll get to it. We got Bishop Kane and JR, and I'm saving JR because I think we might have a surprise guest with that one. Bishop Kane, what's good?
Man, what's good, Scott?
What's up with you, man?
Man, sometimes I just be caught so I can just listen on the phone because I be moving and grooving and shit. You know what I mean? But it be kind of easier than my YouTube because I like to cut my screen off and shit. You know what I mean?
Nah, I feel you.
Yeah, man. That last game, man. You know, I feel like that was still a good game for us to have early in the year. Y'all don't get that out the way. If we gonna fumble the bag, let's do it early. You know what I mean? We don't want to do it in the playoffs. So we want to learn from each mistake that we making. And like you said about Micah, I want to piggyback on that. Like Micah, and one thing we know about Micah, he gonna learn. He ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? He gonna learn from his mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So when he needs to, as far as him just being too aggressive against certain, like, hey, you gotta adjust your play calling. I mean, how you moving week to week. You know what I'm saying? And I know DQ gonna do the same too. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to the OG, but I don't see how you don't believe in DQ after this one game against, you know what I'm saying, Arizona. It's cool, man. It is what it is. We lost. Nobody happy with a loss, especially not this loss.
Yeah.
Or this lose this way. But, I mean, you know, we can't win them all. You know what I'm saying? We just want to make sure we win the right games. You know what I'm saying? That's deep in the season. That's in the playoffs. Whoop to whoop. You know what I'm saying? That's against San Fran. That's against these, you know what I'm saying, against these Eagles. Against, you know what I'm saying? That's what we need to make sure we beat.
Say this,
you know what I'm saying?
Bishop Kane. The Cowboys are 9-1 following the loss under McCarthy. So they have responded well throughout the history under McCarthy. And they're also the last 10 games or 9 games, and they won 9 games in a row at home too. So I think this is prime for a bounce back game on that side of the ball. And again, I still trust Dan Quinn. I still trust these defenders over here. I get, like I said this on Twitter, I'm only jumbling us in here because technically you're one nation, but Cowboys Nation is so fickle, bro. Like it just takes one thing and then everybody's off the bandwagon or everything is terrible. Or it's one game. Like y'all thought we was gonna go 17-0. No. Like, let's see how they bounce back. Like there's no Super Bowl champion or good team that doesn't face adversity at some point in the season. That adversity doesn't mean you're a bad team or you're going to be a bad team throughout. So, you know, let's see how they bounce back. And then we'll revisit this conversation likely around, halfway point, bye week or whatever, and see how they've done the first half of the season. But you don't win or lose a damn Super Bowl or playoff games in week 3. You need to, like Micah said, don't take double L's. Don't lose and not learn. Learn from your mistake, and let's see how we bounce back.
Right, and that's one thing. That's one thing about it, man. Because even the team that did go undefeated in my lifetime, them niggas went to the Super Bowl and lost. You know what I'm saying? You know
I'm about to say,
Randy Moss and Tom Brady.
I'm about to say, how old are you? Because the only team that went undefeated was the 72 Dolphins, right? And you don't sound like you 78 years old.
Nah.
Yeah, you're talking about the Pats, yeah.
But I think that didn't the Dolphins win that Super Bowl when they went undefeated?
Right. But the way you started that sentence off, it was like the only team that went undefeated in my lifetime. And I'm like, how old are you, son?
Ain't no team.
Sound pretty good for an 80-year-old man.
Undefeated, you feel me? Like when we seen them Patriots, man, them Patriots was dogs. But hey, it is what it is. Them boys went to the Super Bowl and lost. So we just want to win the game that matter, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, bro, it's a learning experience, and we got a team that learn. Like even our O-line, man, they learn. You know what I'm saying? We gonna be better. We gonna for sure be better. We had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of things against us. We were in enemy territory. Arizona is a NFL team, and that's what a lot of people.
Hey,
I don't think people.
Bishop Kane,
college.
You ain't got
college.
You ain't got to roll through. Yeah, you ain't got to roll through all the. Everybody has adversity, bro. Everybody has injuries. Everybody has things they got to work through in the game. We just weren't prepared or adjusted good enough to win that game. It's that simple, brother. It's that simple. I don't foresee these type of games happening a bunch of times this year. I don't.
Yeah, and that's what I was finna say. Oh, gee, he a college fan, so he think like college fan. Like this the NFL, man. You know, anybody can win any given Sunday. This ain't college where every game for sure. Oh, you can mark it on your schedule. Nah, hey, sometimes we fuck up. Hey, but. We're going to get on to this next week, man. What you think our keys to winning against Bill Belichick and them next week is? And I'm going to get off the phone. I'm going to let you do your thing. I just wanted to ask that question.
Bishop Kane, tune in tomorrow. We will have our keys to the victory tomorrow, bro. Content, brother, content. We got slow roll this thing. Now, yeah, tomorrow we'll have some key matchups. I used to do keys to victory. The first 2 years doing the morning show. I think I might get back to that as opposed to key matchups. I don't know. We'll see. I do like key matchups, though. But I used to do keys to victory and also key matchups. But tune in tomorrow, Bishop. We'll talk about that. Like I said, I do think this is a good bounce back type of game for the Cowboys to get back on track. Now, we're going to end this thing. We're going to wrap to our guy, JR. What's good, bro?
Yeah. What's good, baby? You know what I'm saying? Hey, I've been hanging. I've been hanging. I had the pleasure to hang, with this guy. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know him. Y'all love him. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him in real quick. Go on and talk to him, Coach. Scott, what's good, baby? How you doing?
What's happening, Prime? We need some motivation.
Hey, I'm feeling good, baby. I woke up motivated this morning. I feel good, baby. I feel good. Got there and I look good. Looked at the mirror, the hairline still there, baby. You know what I'm saying? I drove up in something good, and where I'm at, they paying good. So everything's good, baby. How you doing?
I could be better in regards to coming off of a loss, but it's cool. We it's Thursday. We moving on to New England, and I'm feeling good about a bounce back, Coach.
Oh, yeah. You see, now here's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Good thing about when you get your butt kicked, just good fashioned butt kick. When you get your butt kicked, you got to go look in that mirror. You got to go look in that mirror. And you got to look for that dog that you didn't let walk that last game. See, because when you got that dog, you got to let him walk, baby. If you got that dog, you don't let him walk. See, that'll eat at you. See, I'm fine. I done had me a couple games where I didn't let that dog walk. And I'm looking, I can't sleep good. I'm eating. I'm watching film 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, going back over. You see what I'm saying? You think that Prescott ain't look at that pass he threw that interception in about 100 times by now? You think that block that we just pulled up tape? You think Steele ain't looked at that tape and saw what kind of performance he put out there? You think them boys up there on that front end didn't look and see the performance they put up against that run game? 212 yards. Come on now. Come on. I ain't trying to go back, but 212 yards. The other thing I didn't address, 13 penalties. Now that's just you don't want to at that point.
No.
That's just you don't want to. You ain't believe. You didn't believe. And now you're getting hero ball. You think you're going to be the one to make the play. If everybody in the mindset of hero ball, who's doing the darn job?
Nobody.
Who's doing the darn job?
See, that's it. That's it. So these boys, they got to go back to it. They got to look themselves in the mirror. They got to look themselves in the mirror, and they got to ask themselves, do you believe? And if you believe, go do your darn job. Go study. Go get in that film room, all right? And not just look at what they're doing. Look at your tendencies. See, that's the thing people don't understand. They watching you, too. They watching you, too. They watching what you do. They watching your tendencies. They watching your weaknesses. Get better at your weaknesses. And that's how you're going to be great. That's how you be prime, baby. See, that's what all I did. Everybody thinks that I was flashing on them. I studied. I was a dog in that classroom, baby. I was a dog in that classroom. And that's how I was a dog on the field.
Hey, Coach, why ain't you playing your 5-star recruit? You know, what's going on with him, man?
Now, hold on. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, you know, it is hard to park that Ferrari in that garage when you want to take them out, baby.
You're right.
It's hard to park that Ferrari in the garage when you're ready to roll. You know what I'm saying? And you know when you're pulling up on something big, you want to make a statement. It's hard to park that Ferrari now. But hey, you know, Travis is a dog. I love him. That's my other son. I love him. And he's such a dog. He don't want to stop to let himself heal so he can be the top dog. And that's why I got to come in. I got to sit him down. I got to say, hey, look, son, I love you. But we got to sit you down so that you can heal. Because we don't need no half a dog out there. We need our top dog. We need you a couple more weeks, and then you're going to be our top dog. We're going to run over who else going to step on that field. God be with him. Whoever else want to step on see, you know how hungry he is. He ain't ate. And he saw some good meals out there. So whoever step on that field, when he get out there, God be with him. God be with him. That's all I got. Last thing, Scott, I'm going to tell you this. Now, I hear all that bull junk. All this bull junk talking about LVE. You know what I'm saying? They talking about we should have cut them. You know, talking about we need to put somebody else in place of them. It's a reason why we still got an LVE. Because you sure don't want what's going behind them. Okay? I'll put it to you like this. All right. You don't go trade in no Ferrari for no pre-owned Chevy. Now, I'm not saying LVE is a Ferrari. Now,
Sound like it, Coach. You know, sound like it, Coach.
I ain't saying he's a Ferrari. You know, he could be a Silverado. He could be a Suburban or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I give him that. But you don't go to that lot where you don't need no money down to get one of them and put it in place of LVE. I'm just telling you like that. All right? You know what I'm saying? So all y'all out here saying that bull jump about, LVE needs to go on and we need to now. I don't know what film you're watching, but it ain't the right film. Okay? I don't know what TV you're watching it on, but it ain't the right TV. It's a reason why we think cock and why we kept LVE. That's all I got to say. All right? Y'all need to believe today. Believe in yourself today. Believe in what you're doing. Believe in what you got going so that you can be great. Okay? Go and be great. And that's the prime. That's all I got. Love you, Scott.
You're forgetting something, Prime. Damn. He was supposed to hit us with this, bro.
Give me my theme music.
You're supposed to hit us with this, Coach. Come on. Here I go. Let me tell y'all something. That impersonation is crazy. Unbelievable, man. Hey, JR, you better stop playing. Look, if we can get this out to Coach Prime, he might invite you to Colorado. That's good, man. Shouts out to JR. Drop some fire emojis for JR. I mean, he got the mannerisms, obviously the voice. He's got the vocabulary, the vernacular, right? The sayings, bull jive, bull junk. The Dern is crazy, though. The Dern, like if you put Coach Prime's Dern, like we don't give a darn what they think, next to his Dern, I wouldn't be able to tell. It's that good. Man. Yeah, the Ferrari, the little Ferrari thing with him, man. LVA ain't no damn Ferrari. But I feel you, Coach Prime. What a show today. That's what happens, man. Look, good stuff today. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Let me go get to the super chats. Where they at? Let me refresh. Yeah, actually won a little overtime today. All right. Yesterday, I forgot to read this super chat from Landlord from Alabama /Wakanda.
Super chat.
He said, "What up, Sky and Okoye, Cowboys Nation?" Brian said he tells wide receivers they're doing a clear out route now that they know they're not getting the ball. They just going half speed. Could this be a problem? Wait a minute. Now that they know they're not getting the ball, they're just going half speed. So we had this conversation last week where it was the opposite. You know, he said in years past he would have teams that he wanted to send on a clear out type route, and those wide receivers would be like, "Oh, coach, I don't want to do this, yada yada yada." So he didn't even tell them it was a clear out. But he said this team didn't have that mentality, right? Like, hey, we all got a job to do and we do it well, and that was fine the first couple games. I didn't necessarily notice, like, could this be a problem? I don't think this team is built like that just yet. If we're talking about CeeDee Lamb, that was concerning, seeing him get in his head, but it wasn't because he was doing clear out things. I think CeeDee Lamb reverted back to being an immature kind of a brat. Let's just be honest. He was kind of a bit of a diva in that game, but I believe in the rest of the guys doing their job out there. So again, one game, I'm not about to overreact and assume that could this be a problem. I don't even know necessarily it was a problem then. So we'll take a look at it, though. We'll keep an eye on it. But it's just 1 week removed from Brian Schottenheimer saying that's not an issue in this locker room.
Super chat.
Glenn dropped 5 and said there are pros and cons to death by 1,000 cuts. Short ball control offense is good, but we don't have bread and butter in red zone. Thoughts? 3 for 4 in week 1. I said it, and 2 for 3 to start in against the Jets. I didn't have a problem with the red zone until Arizona. So I'm not about to panic about it. It's something that they got to come back and get better to. I wouldn't necessarily say they don't have a bread and butter just yet. Again, this is entirely new offense. It is a new offense, by the way. And they've scored at 15 red zone opportunities. They've scored on all but 2 of them because they went for 1 and they missed 1. So they're getting points. They're number 2 in the league in getting points, ending drives on point with points. So I'm not ready to sit here and be like we have a complete problem just yet. Off of, in my opinion, 1 bad red zone game. The difference is you lost the game. Let me ask you something. Anybody talking about the Eagles' red zone problem last week? Nope, because they won the game. All right, they won the game. We know this team and this coach has a history of being good down there. I believe they'll bounce back from it. If we're sitting here week 7 and we're 27th in red zone, that's a different story. But I don't really see that being a thing. I do think they have a bread and butter. I just don't think they executed it. Once again, I find it convenient when you come back here where we have 3 offensive linemen missing, and that's when we're like, oh, up in arms. You missed your 3 starting offensive line. I mean, I find it hard to believe many teams will be able to survive, missing their 3 offensive linemen in that area. So put them big boys back out there, and let's see what happens. I'm gonna talk about Chris's first, and then get to JR's because his
super chat.
Chris said number 26 played well. I think Deron Bland was fine. He started off, gave up a pass play, and then that bull crap pass interference, but I thought he was fine. 2 for 23 or 26. I take that all day tomorrow.
Super chat.
And then JR said, we can't zoom in on one guy. He's talking about LVE. Blame him. LVE's woes are a product of them guys up front not doing their job. Now, I won't let you do that now. Collectively, they got their butts kicked. I agree with that. That's it. LVE is who he is, bro. LVE had plenty of opportunities to fly downhill and make a play. Like, that's the other thing, right? Sometimes it ain't going to work up front. Like, sometimes you just got to make the play. And I don't know who said it, but I'm wondering if we are taking that LVE thought process approach across that unit, because nobody seems to want to be played down. Even Bell didn't play downhill in that game on a consistent basis. So, and he's in the linebacker room. It's a lot of kind of just wait and see. And sometimes it's just got, hey, I'm going to go. I'm going to go make a damn play. And there was opportunities for that to happen, and it just didn't happen, man. But yeah, obviously it was a collective effort. He was part of that collective effort. You know what I'm saying? Part of that. All right, tomorrow's Friday. We will who was it that called in here and said, give me was it Bishop or somebody, give me the 3 keys? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about keys tomorrow on the show to victory or matchups. One of the two. One of the 2 keys. Keys to victory or keys to key matchups. One of the 2 tomorrow. Later we talk. What did we do yesterday on Vosh's show? We talk about the defense. So today we're going to talk about the Patriots offense. Again, we'll continue this conversation on Vosh and Barty Live. Make sure y'all swing through. And then Mo will be back on A to Z Sports Prime Time at about 8-ish Central. He on time. I'm not always on time. Get my theme music.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
This kind of is my theme music. I always find it crazy that I've had this outro song for 4 damn years and I haven't changed it. Can't get rid of it. I like it. It's a vibe. It's chill. Make sure y'all swing back through later on Vosh and Barty Live on the volume or his channel, and then vibe with me later tomorrow. Actually, in the morning tomorrow. We out of here. Later.
Bomb Squad!